You came to me last night. I was your passing shadow. You were the first light before memory. You were the instant before thought. You said, I am the one who is in you. Come back to me. I'm waiting for you to walk across. Was it a dream? Am I dreaming still? I look for you everywhere, but I am lost. In this sorrow that is not my own, not mine alone. It leads me away from you, deeper into its cold, black heart.
Focus the mind on the breath. Make the breath regular. A gentle, smooth breathing. When thoughts come into your mind, let go of the thoughts. Release the thoughts like bubbles coming to the surface. Observe the thought and release it. And bring your mind back to your breath. Don't force the breath. Don't struggle with the mind. Be patient. Imagine a point in front of you. Focus your mind on that point. The mind will be very calm. Like a still lake. No thoughts. Smooth, still lake. No ripples. Don't struggle with the mind. Don't force the breath.
Dear editor, in your newspaper column on spirituality today, you quote from the Upanishads and Buddhist texts and end by saying that we can and should use the divine laws of nature to get everything we want, spiritually, emotionally, materially. Who is the New Age Guru? Is it someone who interprets the traditional wisdom inherent in a culture to suit the needs of the time? What if the teacher twists the message to suit what the seeker wants to hear? When the lines between what we need and what we want are blurred, and we are told that the two are the same, what sweeter perversion can there be? Don't let go of the ego. Get infinite power to acquire what the ego wants. Don't rid yourself of desire. Get what you desire. It's all the same, it's all one. Self-gratification and self-realization in one easy, attractive, non-refundable twin pack. Fast food for the soul. It feeds the appetite, but numbs the impulse that sparked the hunger. Our toxic medicine, putting us to sleep, dragging us deeper into the dream. Should I be afraid? Can I be hurt by a mirage? Can I be saved by a map? Where is the road that leads to you? What can measure this distance? One step, one breath, one glance across the night. Is the passing of time completely meaningless? Is timelessness the only reality?
Reality exists on many levels for you. In essence, there is only one reality where time does not exist. Yet, until you reach that reality, time definitely exists for each one of you. Your belief in your limited earth plane seems to override all other beliefs that attract you. When you are in the self, you are beyond time, beyond all limitation. What kind of choices do you feel you could make then?
But doesn't karma limit our choices?
The process of karma cannot be cheated, which means that you do need to learn whatever is required in order to be free of that karma. How you choose to learn it is up to you. We observe that at the crux of each of your questions, there is what is a very human desire in your race not to be responsible, not to be given freedom. In fact, you build all your societies around these concepts of lack of freedom and lack of responsibility. In their more extreme forms, of course, you all resist it. Yet, none of you really desires responsibility or freedom.
Isn't the practice of detachment irresponsible and essentially selfish?
You are mixing up spiritual detachment with the kind of detachment you find on earth when a person suffers or becomes bitter and they detach from everyone else. That is a detachment born out of sorrow, out of suffering, bitterness, and is very uncaring. Detachment arising from detachment from your own personality and ego is infinitely compassionate, caring, and loving. When the ego cannot interfere, you cannot be anything but compassion, wisdom, and love, but not of a kind that is grasping or clinging in nature.
If everything is always already all it can be, and if becoming is the same as being, what is the place of human creativity?
The place of human creativity is to bring forth that state of being and express it in various levels and forms in your lives. Creativity is an expression of the self. Unlimited creativity arises out of the self. When you raise your dedication or devotion to any particular thing on your earth plane to a very high degree, you begin to be inspired by the divine, whether you acknowledge this or not. The connection automatically arises. When you go into the self, you are returning to the first part of where you come from. It is a big relief to you. It is the first step to your return to where you really come from, to truth.
Flesh and bone, life and death. A billion minds living the dream to its last broken breath. City of amnesiacs. Willing ourselves to forget. All that was good for us. All that was good in us. all that we built, all that we built upon, all that we killed, all that lives on. Desperate to stretch our heedlessness over our bits of sky. Going round the same circle, looking for something new. If I could soar above for one flawless moment in you. I love your house, Lisa.
Yeah, that will be later. Right now, let me just shuffle the cards. Okay, just think of your question and shuffle the cards. Here. Okay, now do you want to tell me what the question is, or shall we like just do the reading first and then you tell me what the question is? Or you needn't tell me at all also. Let's just do a reading without knowing. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Fine. This card, okay, stands for the present influences, okay, regarding whatever you've asked about. And it's the 9 of Swords. And swords usually, they're usually connected to strife, either strife, conflict and all, or some sort of mental, not necessarily conflict, but the fact that you have to use your mind, or you are using your mind, the power of the mind in some way, okay. This card is the 10 of Swords, which is a fairly negative card, however you read it. So let's just figure out why and how. It signifies an unexpected loss, okay, and the end to something on which you've been counting on.
I mean, what's blowing my mind about these cards is that actually it's reflecting my mental state completely. It is.
I think it's just pointing out to you or making you think more deliberately of what's in your subconscious.
That's it.
You know? So that's it.
Not really think. I think it just literally is physically reflecting what's in your subconscious.
Yeah.
The cards say so many things. Each card says so many things. But you choose to, your mind
Pick
goes
out those
off
things.
only for that thing.
Yeah.
Like the alarm bells ring
Yeah.
only for that one particular thing which has been, the
In your
overriding thing in your head.
True.
And which is what is amazing.
If the mind creates the signs and sees what it's looking for, then why do we go outside ourselves and look for them?
I think
Just
it
let
first
it
came to
rest.
me when when we first learned to take pictures and we first started watching film seriously, and we were all making films in our heads, and everything was a frame, like a friend sharing their deepest secret
Was a frame.
was a frame. I mean, it was like that. And I think then I consciously tried to distance myself from that, because I realized that, again, like you said, one stopped living and one was just forming a theory of
Life.
what life should be.
In one sense, it is true, as in the thing that we were talking of earlier, of creating your reality when you open your eye. So in that sense, I do create this scene. I see you and I create this scene. If we root it in that silence, then the scene you create is who you are. There is no gap between your consciousness and what you see. There is no framing then. Let all negotiation end here. Let me leave my voices behind. Let me come to you in silence. Let me come to you naked. Return to that enchanted moment, high on a mountain. The frozen crystal of your heart, melting for the sea. Since I heard my first love story, I have looked for you everywhere. Unseeing, blind. Hoping to finally find you somewhere. All this time.